Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Griffin here and I hope you're all having a fantastic day as always. Now, in today's video, I wanted to dive back into an audience favorite, which is covering some stocks that ARK Invest is investing into across a handful of their innovative ETFs. In a video I released last week on November 18th, we covered two stocks that ARK Invest has been heavily buying into, which were TDOC and Palantir. And since that video, both of these stocks have been performing quite well in the market, with TDOC up around 8% at the time of filming this video, and Palantir on an absolute tear up 55%. So it's safe to say that ARK Invest definitely has a knack for finding small companies that show great potential long term. With that said, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, these videos take me a ton of time to put together, so if you enjoy the content, please take 2 seconds to drop a like. It really helps the channel out, and also consider subscribing and hitting the bell button to be notified of new and upcoming investing content. So on that note, let's dive right into the first stock in today's video, which is Slack, ticker symbol work on the New York Stock Exchange. But before you click away from this video, since we've already covered Slack in previous content, I'm not necessarily saying that Slack is a buy at the current valuations. However, there has been a lot of price movement around Slack lately on the news that Salesforce may have the intention of buying out Slack. And for this reason, I wanted to share my thoughts on the current valuation that Slack is trading for and what I'm doing as a shareholder. Upon this news as of last week, the stock surged from $29.50 a share way up to $40.70 per share over the course of one single trading day, now up roughly 48% since that news. And ARK Invest has been piling on the Slack shares in 3 of their main funds at around $22 million worth of stock purchased over the past couple of weeks, as we can see from the following tables. They did, however, make the majority of their capital injections on the 23rd and 24th of November, which happens to conveniently be right before the Salesforce news, which was on the 25th. Now, with that said, this recent rally has propelled Slack to a point where their stock is now trading at all-time highs. And as investors, we need to ask ourselves, is this valuation justified, and does it still have room to grow over the coming months and years at these current price points? I myself got in on Slack stock at around $32 per share, and over the coming weeks after I had released that video and purchased some shares prior, I was in a position where the stocks were down quite substantially. However, upon the Salesforce news, obviously that position quickly turned back into the black. So I did actually end up taking some profits on Monday morning, selling off around half of my position of Slack stock for around $42.50 per share, giving me a nice 30% upside on that position, while still maintaining half of the shares that I had purchased at $32 per share. And this is really just because I kind of felt that the stock was being overbought at the current valuations, spiking up around 38% in such a short time frame. Now, to be honest, as I'm filming this right now, which is on a Tuesday morning, I do realize that the Salesforce news is actually going to come out today in terms of the official news of their intentions of buying Slack and at what valuation. So that obviously is going to have a major impact on both a Salesforce stock as well as Slack stock. So by the time you watch this video, things may have changed a little bit, but regardless, I believe that at this price point, Slack stock was overbought and at a position where in such a short time frame, it quickly became overvalued. With that said though, let's quickly take a look at the company's stock quote. So Slack has been a pretty erratic stock actually, with lots of volatile spikes over the past year or so since being a publicly traded company. And the current spike though is by far the highest that we've experienced for the stock, and the company now has a market cap of roughly $24.4 billion at the time of filming this video, pre-market on Tuesday morning. And once again, as a shareholder here, what I'm interested in knowing and sharing with the audience in terms of my thoughts on this is, why does the news about Salesforce having the intention of acquiring Slack have such an impact on positive investor outlook for Slack stock, resulting in such a dramatic stock spike? For those of you who may not be aware, Salesforce is a company that develops enterprise-level cloud computing solutions with a focus on customer relationship management pretty much worldwide. They offer cloud storage solutions, monitor leads and progress, forecast opportunities, and a variety of other data analytics platforms. This is also a company that in recent years has made the acquisition of some smaller tech firms such as MuleSoft for $6.5 billion and the data analytics and visualization company Tableau for $15.3 billion. And Salesforce is also a monster of a company when comparing it to Slack at $217 billion in market cap at the time of filming this video. Now, as of recent news, the Salesforce deal is most likely going to value Slack at an overvalued price point, but once again, this could change with today's upcoming news about the actual official details of the Slack acquisition. If the deal does end up going through at an overvalued price point, obviously this would be beneficial for Slack shareholders, as the acquiring company would be paying a premium for Slack. Interestingly though, since this news was released last week, shares of Salesforce itself have receded down by a couple percent, but the stock has actually received an upgraded price target for the year by analysts at an average of $281 and then a high of even $334. So hey, even though Slack stock may be overvalued right now, there might actually be some opportunity in the acquiring company, which is Salesforce, especially if the stock continues receding down. Now, one of the main driving factors that I see contributing to investor optimism towards Slack moving forward, as opposed to a couple months back when I had actually spoken about this stock previously, is the fact that with Salesforce at the wheel of the ship here leading Slack, well, this allows Slack to compete much more aggressively with Microsoft and their own version of a business messaging platform, which is Microsoft Teams. Since Salesforce has significantly deeper pockets than Slack had previously, well, this could really help Slack stand their ground against the Microsoft competition, which up to now was one of the main hurdles that Slack had to get over in order to gain a larger market share. My final thoughts for Slack are the following. So once again, I do think that at current price points, this is a very rich valuation, and even if a Salesforce does move through with the acquisition of Slack, Microsoft and Microsoft Teams are still going to pose a significant competition for Slack moving forward. I personally would not buy into Slack at the current price point, and the fact that ARK Invest purchased most of their shares over the past couple of weeks before the Salesforce news is also kind of indicative of this mentality. But what are your thoughts on Slack? Did you purchase some shares after my previous video? Are you holding some right now? Have you sold some off with the current price spike? I'd love to know. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you're enjoying the content, make sure to smash the like button. All right, moving on now to the second stock that I'd like to speak about in today's video. This company is called Pure Storage Incorporated, ticker symbol PSTG on the New York Stock Exchange, which is trading for right around $18.30 at the time of filming this video. Pure Storage Inc. is a company that specializes in data storage solutions within the United States and internationally. So they offer cloud storage, but that is also heavily focused on data reduction, encryption, and just overall protection. In addition to this, the company also offers storage as a service and has a variety of sub-products such as Flash Array and Flash Blade, all of which have the goal of providing customers with a secure data storage. The cloud data storage industry is obviously extremely competitive with large competitors such as Google and Amazon, but Pure Storage Inc. is focusing more on enterprise level clients and is really focusing more on data encryption and security around this data, which is always in constant demand. So over the past couple of months, ARK Invest has been buying PSTG shares relatively heavily, actually, to the point where as of now, the weight of this company within the ARK K fund is now sitting at around 2.55% of the entire fund. With that said, this represents $330.174 million, which is quite significant considering that this company's market cap is only just around $5 billion. In two of their other funds, the stock represents $108 million in ARK W and $95 million in ARK G. Now, when looking at the stock quote of PSTG, it's quite evident that while this company has recovered from the market crash in early 2020, the stock hasn't been performing well since around 2018, where it peaked at roughly $28 per share, and it's been on a downwards trend ever since. In terms of price to sales, the stock is now trading back at 2017 levels, while the trailing 12 months of sales per share have been steadily increasing, which is definitely a positive to see for this stock. In addition to this, when looking at the company's margins, gross margins are steadily increasing to just under 70%, and while both operating and net margins are still negative, they have both been heavily increasing since 2015, as demonstrated from both of these graphs. This once again is nice to see, and hopefully the company can continue to strive towards profitability over the next couple of years. PSTG is definitely not having any issues increasing their top line, which year over year has been growing at a hefty pace. From 2017 to 2018, the company saw a 40.5% increase in revenues, and then from 2018 to 19, the revenues jumped by 32.9%, and then from 2019 to 2020, revenues increased by roughly 20%. So while revenues are somewhat slowing down, the company is still increasing their top line while also increasing their gross, operating, and EBITDA margins. So as of right now, with a stock price that is still down roughly 35% from those 2018 peaks, I think that Pure Storage has some tremendous opportunity ahead of it at a currently fair value. Over the next year or so, I could honestly see a minimum 30% upside for PSTG, and I think that considering everything we just spoke about, that's actually probably quite conservative. It honestly wouldn't even surprise me if we see the stock seeing a 50% upside over the next year or so. Now, in terms of balance sheet, how healthy is the company? Well, as of September 30th, 2020, the company had 1.2 billion in cash and 1.7 billion in total current assets. With total current liabilities at 659 million, this places their current ratio at 2.64x, which is very healthy. Overall, this balance sheet looks great to me and nothing sticks out as a red flag. With that said, they did take on quite a bit more debt over the course of 2020, so as a potential new investor, I'll be keeping my eye on this one. So unlike with Slack, where I just sold off around half my position, because even though over time I do think the company will do well, at current price points, I think that it's just a very rich valuation and the stock was overbought on this Salesforce news. Well, with Pure Storage, I think I'm probably going to be injecting a couple $1,000s into the stock at the current price point for a medium to long-term hold. Do note, however, that for PSTG stock at current price points, I don't necessarily see a 100 to 200% increase from here on out in a shorter term time frame. I'm talking less than a couple of years, but as a consistent gainer for the portfolio at a nice price point right now, I think that the stock shows tremendous potential, and ARK Invest seems to think the same. So with everything that we just spoke about in today's video, what are your thoughts on both of these two stocks? I'd love to know your thoughts, so let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I really hope you did, please smash the like button, it helps the channel out, and consider subscribing and hitting the bell button to be notified of new and upcoming investing content. Now also, if you're still new to investing and need to open up a brokerage account, I'd highly recommend you check out one of the links down in the description where you can open up a Questrade, Webull, or Wealthsimple trade account, and you'll get some free money for opening and funding your account. So on that note, thanks a lot for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.